Good, happy Sunday afternoon, January 17, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Sunday afternoon edition of This Week with Riley King. Let's begin this Sunday edition of This Week with Riley King. First up, Giuliani says he's working on Trump's impeachment defense. Would argue voter fraud claims. If you can prove that it's true, they are no longer fighting words, he said. President Donald Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani tells ABC News he's working as part of the president's defense team in his upcoming second impeachment trial, and that he's prepared to argue that the president's claims of widespread voter fraud did not constitute incitement of violence because the widely debunked claims are true. For Trump, 68% oppose a self-pardon. Biden receives positive remarks for transition. Let's take a look at that poll. Still, Biden trails other recent presidents on how he's handling the transition. Ahead of his inauguration, Americans, by more than 40-point margin, approve of the way Joe Biden has handled the presidential transition, but just half are confident he'll make the right decision for the country's future, with muted expectations for his progress on key issues. As to the man he's replacing, 68% in this ABC News/Washington Post poll oppose President Donald Trump pardoning himself for any federal crimes he may be accused of committing, and 58% supporting Twitter's ban on Trump muzzling the outgoing president on his main platform. Biden team preparing for any scenario that should arise on Inauguration Day. Our plan and our expectation for Biden to take oath outside the U.S. Capitol. President-elect Joe Biden is still planning to take his oath of office on the west side of the U.S. Capitol Wednesday, despite growing concerns over state safety for the event. Incoming White House Communication Director Kate Bedingfield said on Sunday on ABC's This Week. Well, that is certainly our plan, Bedingfield said when asked by ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos if she was certain the ceremony would go forward as planned. She said, "I think that will send an incredible, important visual image to the world about the reliance of American democracy. And so our plan and our expectation is that President-elect Biden will put his hand on the Bible with his family outside on the west side of the Capitol on the 20th, Bedingfield said. Authorities have been tracking any array of potential threats ahead of the inauguration following the deadly riots at the Capitol. They have led to changes to Biden's inaugurational plan already altered by the pandemic. Let's take a listen to this video. Kate Bedingfield tells George the plan is for President-elect Biden's inauguration to take place on the West Front. Let's take a listen to that video right now.
He'll be delivering that message across an empty mall there, the Capitol Mall. The entire U.S. Capitol has become an armed camp right now. You've had to cancel certain parts of the inauguration, including the train ride into Washington, D.C., including some rehearsals. Are you certain that the ceremony is going to take place on the west front of the Capitol as planned?
Well, that is certainly our plan. I think that will send an incredibly important visual image to the world about the resilience of American democracy. And so our plan and our expectation is that President-elect Biden will put his hand on the Bible with his family outside on the west side of the Capitol on the 20th. Look, there is no question, though, of course, we are in a volatile time. I think, unfortunately, you only have to look at the chatter on social media to see that we are in a volatile time. And so we are making preparations. We'll begin meeting tomorrow, daily meetings with the outgoing leadership in national security and law enforcement to ensure that we're preparing for any scenario that should arise after noon on January the 20th. So we're working to ensure that we'll be prepared. But we have full faith in the United States Secret Service and their partners who've been working for over a year on the planning to ensure that this event is safe. So we're very much looking forward to President-elect Biden putting his hand on the Bible at noon on the 20th.
Okay, you heard it there from Joe Biden's communication director. And let's also listen to this. What can Americans expect to hear on Wednesday? Let's take a listen to that.
First things first, the inaugural address that comes on Wednesday. You just heard Congressman Meyer say it's time for an open, honest, and transparent discussion from President Biden. He says rejecting the politics of deception. What can Americans expect to hear on Wednesday? What is the major goal of this address?
So I think what you'll hear from President-elect Biden on Wednesday will be a reflection of a lot of what you heard from him on the campaign trail, which is that he believes we can bring this country together. He believes that we have to bring this country together, that a unified America is the only way that we're going to be able to tackle the massive crises that we're grappling with. I won't go too much farther in terms of previewing the speech, because I'll let the President-elect speak to it on Wednesday. But I think you can expect that this will be a moment where President-elect Biden will really work to try to turn the page on the divisiveness and the hatred of the last 4 years, and really lay out a positive, optimistic vision for the country, and lay out a path forward that really calls on all of us to work together. I think that's what Americans all across the country want. They want a government that, once again, is focused on doing the right thing by them and helping them in their day-to-day lives. And so you're going to hear President-elect Biden really lay out a vision to get us to a place where we can work together, because that's what Americans want. That's what they voted for in this election. 81 million Americans voted for President-elect Biden, in part because he was laying out a vision for this country that gets us to a place where we can work together. So you'll hear a lot of that from him on the 20th.
Okay, and there you go on that video. That was from Joe Biden's communication director. And that does it for this Sunday afternoon edition of This Week with Riley King, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a wonderful week ahead of you, and we have a busy week ahead of us. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend. Great rest of your Sunday, everyone. Goodbye.